Welcome everyone to today's Performance Clinic, introducing AppMon 2018 March, the next major release of Dynatrace. As you can see here, I have a couple of my colleagues over in Linz in Austria, in our development team, that are enlightening us about what's about to happen in the next release. They're giving an overview about the new features and encouraging you to check out the new early access program that we have. I think it's Peter who is currently sharing the slides. If you want to advance quickly to the next slide. Just as a reminder, the last major releases in May 2017, we had the release that came out with great support or great improvements on the web dashboard side. I think this was really a major milestone when it came to moving more work that you do on a day-to-day basis into our web UI. If we can build up the timeline, the next version that we are going to mainly talk about today is going to be released in March 2018. I'm pretty sure at our Perform conference, which is going to be end of January. So in case you haven't signed up yet, go to perform.dynatrace.com, sign up for the conference. There will be a lot of talk about the next AppMon release. So March is going to be another major milestone. And then looking out further in the future, fall of 2018, you can see we're kind of keeping that cadence of about 2 major updates a year. And obviously between these updates, we have our regular updates where we are providing smaller feature updates and also, any improvements that you guys give us through the community. So we're really on a great track, and now I want to actually hand it over to Peter. Peter, you want to show us a little bit about what you and your team has been working on, and what I try to do is, again, if questions come in, folks, give us questions on the stuff that you see. I'm looking at the questions, and then I want to feed it directly to them as they're presenting, and in case I feel the question is something for later, we also have a longer Q&A session at the end. Peter, take it away.
Okay, so hi everyone, this is Peter, also from Linz, part of the product management team, and mostly working on dashboarding topics. So as you know, I'm starting off with dashboarding today's performance clinic. And as you know, based on your feedback in the past few releases, we were strongly working together with you in order to really enable you and your teams to share the data that AppMon provides across teams and really onboard more teams, make onboarding for teams a lot easier. And together with the strong improvements that we released in May this year with the new dashboard layouting and much more power, we also got the feedback from your side that you said basically, hey Peter, nice and great work of your team. I really love the new web dashboards, but over the years we've built hundreds of rich client dashboards, and we love them. We would like to share them with our teams, but we still don't have enough time to recreate them manually in the web. So with this release, one of our most important improvements, I think, is what we call a rich client to web dashboard converter. So the whole idea behind this is to really save you time when you say, I have these 5 critical dashboards that we use on a day-to-day basis. We really would like to share it with, let's say, another app team that comes on that has to be onboarded, but we just don't have the time. So as you see here, you have this import client dashboard button that basically explains a little thing. There is also a documentation page up there already that you can check out that basically describes how the workflow works. It's kind of like a wizard-like approach. Then you basically select the rich client dashboard that you want to convert, that you've stored locally on your file system. It says, okay, dashboard imported, and you click on this open dashboard button. And what we do is we convert the layout, we convert the colors for the metrics that you've configured in the rich client. We also convert the metric configuration, which is basically the most work that is needed in order to create a web dashboard. And based on our powerful dashboard layouting capabilities that we've built with AppMon May 2017, that hopefully most of you already had a look at, where you simply can use very powerful features for layouting like multi-select, resize, in order to really make these dashboards look great. Also, if you want to use them in your NOC scenario, we've built the NOC mode for that as well. And this release is just adding much more power to that. So really, like agent group, host filters for web dashboards, things like dashboard linking, where you click on this tile and link to another dashboard. Things like changing units for the y-axis on charts. So all of that will come with this release. And therefore, we think that with this release, with AppMon 7.1 or AppMon March 2018, we really think that the web dashboards are more powerful and more easy to use for you than the rich client dashboards. Of course, most critical thing is, okay, we've also tried to create some scenarios or make these dashboards look great on any device that you use. So we've built scaling options that, for example, if you prepare a dashboard that you want to look at on your iPad or on your tablet, we've built some scaling options that fit all of the tiles that are needed onto the viewport. And sharing is critical as well. So, of course, we built this for you to be better able to collaborate with your team, to share these with your teams. And now with AppMon 2018 March, you'll be able to easily share dashboards with user groups or certain users. So this is, again, very critical in order to save you time and share it with the desired teams. Then again, when it comes to power and the possibility for you to share AppMon data across teams, we've already put our focus on backend teams and, let's say, PurePath goes web in the last two major releases, which was 6.5 and 7.0 or 2017 May. And again, with this release, we've just shifted up one more gear in terms of bringing critical data to your teams, like, for example, layer breakdown, which is very critical. Let's switch to the right system provider here. Layer breakdown, analyzing outliers, drilling down to the PurePath filtered by these APIs. We've also thought about, okay, again, collaboration and shareability. So most of these new data points that we've included are able to easily pin to a dashboard, for example. So again, with this release, we just believe that the web dashboards and the web UI in total are, more powerful and better to use for you to share the data with your teams, to create, for example, read-only scenarios where teams just should use the data but not reconfigure stuff, and so forth. So, in summary, when we go back to the slide, when it comes to the web UI features that we've built in, so layer breakdown, web requests, BT hotspots, as they are called in the rich client, are also now in the web with the possibility to easily pin the data that you need, or a certain BT splitting that is interesting for you. You can easily pin that to a dashboard and again share it with the teams. And of course, collaboration again between developers. For example, you now have full support of stored sessions in the web UI, so you can import stored sessions, apply them to the filters. You can also apply stored session filters for tiles on a dashboard to compare data between a live session and stored session. So all that is possible now. So again here, the key takeaway, the AppMon Web UI rocks. We hope that we created a UI that is really enabling you to share the data more easily with the team. And now I want to just hand over to Thorsten to proceed with yeah, something awesome, I think.
Actually, Peter, before you hand it over, I just have a couple of questions that I want to quickly get addressed because I think it makes sense. First of all, there's some cool feedback. People, I think, love what you do. The dashboard sharing, when you said share to a particular group, does this mean they just get sent emails or do they show up somewhere? Where do dashboards show up for people that get the dashboard shared?
So if I get a dashboard shared or for example, an administrator shares a dashboard with a certain user group, then there is the possibility that the admin sends, for example, this converted dashboard that sends an invite, which basically triggers the default email client. Mm-hmm. But if it's shared with a group, for example, like business users, say done, then it will appear in this shared overview for the people that should get this dashboard. So there is out of the box, they do not get an email, but the possibility is there to send one.
Cool. Now I also see tags on the left side. Can I do custom tags as well on dashboards?
Yeah. So there is one thing that we thought about as well when there are scenarios where customers end up with hundreds of web dashboards, but teams want to see just their dashboards that they've created. We've put in the possibility to, let's say, multi-select, add tag, and say, okay, this is now the business teams.
That's awesome. That's very helpful. That's basically there was a long-standing request about grouping business transactions or grouping dashboards, and I think the tagging is perfect for that, right? This is
exactly cool. That's the concept we try to go further on with.
Just some other questions here. You showed the import dashboards. Is it also possible to import a dashboard that is currently stored on the same Dynatrace server? Because you showed importing kind of an exported dashboard, but I would assume if I am on that same server, I can just pick the dashboard file from my local Dynatrace server.
Exactly. So you can do that as well. The only thing that has to be done is when we select a dashboard here that I have to navigate to the server directory, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's perfect. Yeah. Another question that came in, the layer breakdown, love it. Any chance we can pin it to a dashboard as well?
Okay. Yeah. Let me just add it to the one that we just converted before. So there's layer breakdown.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. That's nice.
By the way, all out-of-the-box tiles are now available also. So
exactly. So that's also worth mentioning to us, and thank you for that. That's already something that we've released in an update to 2017 May. And what is there, for example, is if you look at this one here, this user analytics tile that was previously part of our default business home screen. That is also, these are basically all of the out-of-the-box tiles that we've had previously are also available to put on our dashboard now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's two more questions, and I know we have much more content. Any plans to link tiles, meaning you can click on one element in one tile, and then this kind of, reflects the filter over to another tile, similar what we have in the rich client, where you have like a master detail relationship. Yeah. Is there anything planned?
Yeah, sure. So this is possible in the next release. I can show you, but I think we should save some time, right?
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Just very quickly, advanced settings, click behavior, link to a dashboard, and select this one, for example. Say done, click on it, and it's the dashboard.
Awesome.
Just in. Okay?
Perfect, yeah. There's more questions that come in, but we'll do it at the end. But I wanted to address this. Thank you.
Thanks for the questions.
Okay. Andy, can you hand over?
Sure. Sure. It's only €5.
Perfect, yeah. Just to mention that everything what Peter showed is just a brief overview. We did so many things in the web UI area and so much cool stuff, and I guess this would be worth an additional webinar to show just the highlights there within 1 hour. So much stuff we did and awesome work the guys did here in the lab. So now let's talk about a little bit one very important feature. This was also one of the most voted product idea within our answers community page. And this is what we talk about when we have multiple AppMon servers, for instance. So we know many customers, I don't know, have 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10 or even more different AppMon servers running. And for some reasons, some applications, they are also connected to each other. So basically, when there is one hop to another server, in the past, the BioPath was broken. And of course, this was for some of the customers a pain because they said, hey, it's so important for us to follow also those key transactions. And therefore, they always ask us, hey, can you provide at least something that we can follow those transactions? And therefore, we have now those capabilities available. And let me show you this in a demo. So here what you can see is a simple rich client. And as you can see, I'm connected to two different environments now. So this will also work, of course, when you have 5 environments, so as I said, 10 environments, whatever, but important is that you are connected to those. And as you can see here, this is my server, Dynatrace. So Peter will explain more about the rich client changes also, because we did also a great job here. But as you can see, everything is there. And now let's go to the BioPath dashlet. So here, as you can see, BioPath dashlet, and as you can see, a couple of transactions here. And now, suddenly, when you have the connection to multiple AppMon servers, you will also find this button here. A single click on this button will immediately show you, okay, is there a transaction going out to a different server, so an additional hop to a server. So we've highlighted this with a link color, and it's very easy and convenient to use because you simply have to click on it. And as you can see, we will open an additional BioPath dashlet for you, and you will also see, okay, this is running on Dynaday. And again, the whole path which is connected to this BioPath. And of course, so the journey is not done here. So you can also do the same thing in a different way. So basically, I know, okay, this one is going also to a different direction. And as you can see, I will get immediately the link color here again. Click on this one, and then I will end up again on the beginning of the call. As you can see, this is Dynatrace where everything began. And of course, I have the same information here. It's really easy to use. So as I said, from a configuration standpoint, everything is easy. Just what you need is to connect to the environments. The agent side and everything will collect the data, and we will combine the data there, and just clicking around in the rich client and nothing else. So as easy as possible. But this is not everything what we did. The next thing is, for those of you who know Dynatrace, Dynatrace, or formerly known as Ruxit. So this is one of our new products we have also there. And we know many customers now, they're starting with the cool deployment. And the main reason for that is, okay, they say, hey, they want to try Dynatrace, but they still have the AppMon side there. And they say, hey, all the investment what we did on the AppMon side when it comes to configuration, when it comes to dashboard, when it comes to metrics, business transaction, whatever, they say, hey, I just want to have a smooth and easy way to move over to Dynatrace, play around a little bit, and then step by step move over to Dynatrace. And therefore, we want to give them the possibility to say, whenever you have the same situation and you have a co-deployment of AppMon and Dynatrace, then you can also follow transaction from the two products. So it doesn't matter if you jump from AppMon to Dynatrace or from Dynatrace to AppMon. And the cool thing about that is that this will also work with SaaS and managed. So it doesn't matter if you're running in the cloud or if you have everything installed on your premise. And now let's switch again to my demo. Of course, I can show you this as well. So, oops. So therefore, I have to switch my system. And this is okay. Again, BioPath dashlet. Okay, as you can see, a lot of transactions coming in. Now let's pick one of them. And what you can do here now, because I know, okay, this BioPath is going to Dynatrace as well, I can simply click on this one and can say, hey, show me all the subpaths, so all the connections going out to Dynatrace. And therefore we have configuration behind. And with the click on this, then Dynatrace will open up in the browser and will search the BioPath for you. and hopefully you will find a related pure path. As you can see, here's the pure path. So I can click on this one, of course. Then I can also say, hey, let me analyze this pure path because I want to see what's going on. Click on this one, all the information, and then you can analyze it. And as you can see, we also have the same capabilities there. So in this version, it's not done yet, but of course we will also provide a solution where you can click on it and then we will open immediately the web UI in the AppMon context. But right now I can copy the data. Then let's jump back to my web UI. So this is the web UI where I know this pure path is continuing. Then copy paste this one, trade onto this pure path. As you can see, now this is the pure path on the other side, on the AppMon side. And of course I can also slice and dice and click around. And last but not least, you can also open it in the client. Let's switch to the client. You can do the same thing here as well. Just follow the pure path, search for this one, copy paste the information, and hopefully I will end up to see the pure path. Yes, as you can see here, the pure path again. And of course, I can do the same thing again to drill down to the Dynatrace environment, going back and going forward. So you can do the whole journey there. Yeah, and as I said, this is also working for SaaS and managed, so it doesn't matter what you are running there. And yeah, now let's go back to the slide. So as I said, doesn't matter if you have AppMon, Dynatrace, or multiple AppMon environments, so all the pure paths are now connected. So whenever you have the situation to have multiple AppMon instances or you have Dynatrace as a co-deployment as well, you can follow all your key transactions. And the next thing is what we also have when it comes to Dynatrace and AppMon integration is because we, as I said before, we know that the investment you did on the AppMon side is very important, and it was a lot of work for many of the customers because, of course, you created the business transactions, you created the meshes, you created the config and everything. And therefore we said it should be as smooth and easy as possible. And therefore when you move over to Dynatrace, of course you have some key metrics there. And therefore you also want to see those metrics, for instance, on Dynatrace dashboard to have a single pane of glass. And this is also very easy. Let me show this again in the demo. So therefore, I'm going to Dynatrace. Therefore, I created already one of my example dashboards. And here you can see the configuration. So within the server settings, it's just a new item we have here. And here you can configure the environment. So basically, because we have to know an endpoint where we stream the data. And with this data stream, you can go now, for instance, to a dashboard because we believe that most of the important KPIs, of course, are on a dashboard level. And therefore, you want to carry over all those metrics which are related to a certain dashboards over to Dynatrace. And therefore, we have this kind of feature here available to say export to Dynatrace. As you can see now, all the related metrics from this certain dashboards are showing up. And you can say, hey, please stream all the metrics which are available on this dashboard to cross-product pure path search. So this is the name of my environment. And then you can say next. Then you will get an overview. Okay, what's happening? As you can see, we have the information of a server. We have the information of a system profile. And when you have multiple system profiles or servers which are related to a dashboard, then of course we will add additional steps to the wizard. But in this case, it's a simple one, just one server and one system profile, and then you're done. And of course, then you will finally end up with a dashboard like this to have all the metrics available on the Dynatrace side. And of course, you can do this again with multiple servers. So when you have again 5, 10 or whatever AppMon servers, then you can stream multiple metrics from the different environments to Dynatrace, to your Dynatrace environment. Yeah, and again, of course, important to know is that this is also working again for SaaS and managed. So we are making no difference there. And yeah, as I said, as easy as possible. And last but not least, I also want to highlight and mention that I have a more detailed webinar in the online performance clinic with Andy together on the 19th of December. So whenever you're interested in this feature in more details, then yeah, feel free to sign up. And then we have more time to spend to cover the whole topic because it's much, much more what we did there. And I'm more than happy to provide you a more overview there. Yeah. And
that's pretty cool.
No, sure, go ahead, sorry.
No, just some questions on this. There's a lot of questions actually that came in on the cross-server. I think the best is if you really wait for the performance clinic, right? But to highlight, and I think this is what was echoed here, is that it's true cross-server pure path drill downs are possible, but what we don't do, we don't pull data in from other AppMon servers to a central AppMon server. So it's really just a drill capability. That was one thing. And also another question that I just want to highlight, the transaction flow. The transaction flow is still for the pure path on one Dynatrace server, and then you can drill to another pure path or where the pure path continues, right?
So we have no full, let's say, complete overview of all different AppMon servers in one transaction flow. That's correct, yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then there's other questions. I think I'll collect all of them. Either we have time later on, or we'll handle them at your presentation on the 19th.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect. Yeah, and now this is the whole topic about scale, because as you can imagine, of course, when you can install now multiple AppMon servers and they are able to talk to each other and also think about the code deployment with Dynatrace, then scaling is of course important, and this is somehow where we can cover large environments as well, or huge environments. But nevertheless, we also did a very good job and a huge investment also on the scaling side when it comes to one single AppMon server. So therefore, we will introduce with 7.1 or 2018 March 2 new server sizes. So as you can see, we have 2 extra large and we have 3 extra large available now. And what does it mean? Because in the previous releases, we were not able to utilize all the available resources within the AppMon server. And therefore, whenever you had 50 cores or more, we just used the 24 cores there in a proper way. And now we did a hard job to utilize the resources better, and therefore, as you can see, we can scale up now up to 44 cores. And also when it comes to memory, because this is what we can see also when we talk to customers, most of the cases the memory is not a big issue at all, because 512 gigabyte memory or even more is basically the status quo right now. And therefore we also did an investment there to utilize the memory much better, and also which means it's more robust, it's more stable, and of course we can also gain more throughput with that. So, and that's the very good news is, and the final tests are not done yet, but with the current setups, and I believe it could be more, but we have to see what the final test will show up, but we can already see more than 30% more transactions for one single instance. And we have to see in certain scenarios this could be more. It always depends on the application and on the complexity. But as you can see, we scale now much better with one single server, and then we have the combination with multiple AppMon servers and with the following of transactions. So I guess this is a huge step in the right direction, and to help you also to scale with your business. Okay. Yeah, that's it from my side, and thank you, and now handing over to Patrick.
Hello everybody, and thanks Thorsten. I'll try to keep up with your pace, still with my jet lag in my bones. So I'm talking about a little bit about the news of our agents. So within the upcoming release, some of you may already have used it in a beta status. We now support fully .NET Core runtime. That means so .NET Core is the new runtime pushed by Microsoft, available for multiple platforms. So we will support it only right now for Windows, but fully GA with 7.1. As well as, which is completely new with 7.1, is the Java 9 support, which is pretty awesome, brings some new features like modularization and so on. We've also made huge steps forwards PHP. So for PHP 7.0 was already available since 7.0, and now with 7.1 we also support PHP 7.1. There's also new support for Node.js version 8 coming up with new features like async await support. So all of this is fully GA within 7.1, means full support for that. All those we've already used the new agents in previous versions in beta. There were still some features missing, like class browser in .NET, for example. That's also now available in the new release. Yeah, how can you get to that? I already mentioned it's the new agents. So Thorsten, please, can you forward to the next slide? Thank you. That would be awesome. So as I mentioned, these are the new agent platforms. These features are supported in the new agent platform. So all of those features, you need to opt in to get the new agents. So we don't force you anyhow to move over to the new agents. So everything is opt-in. All you need to do is to go to the settings, to the server settings. Then you see a little button called Agent Platform. Once you open that, you see a choice of, or not a choice, a list of all your agent groups you have configured. And by just simply switching over to the right side, you can configure that those agent groups, once your agents start will use the new agent platform. It's as simple as that, so no new guides how to install agents, something like that, no new install packages, just simply switch it from the UI. You can also afterwards switch back if you may need to, for some reasons, switch over to the existing classic version. Speaking also of new features from the agent side, there's also some new enhancements on the DB agent. We introduced with 7.1 the top SQL queries and top wait states in the web UI. Don't have any screenshots by now, but yeah, just look up in the web UI. These are already there. That's it from my side. Any questions?
Patrick, we had a couple of questions that came in, but I want to keep it short. If I look at this screenshot here, it says AppMon on the left side and one agent on the right. I just want to make sure that people understand this is not the same one agent when we talk about one agent.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for bringing this up. So this is already in this release still here, the one agent. The one agent is just sharing the same agent technology which we use in Dynatrace. To not confuse people any longer in the new release, we already changed this naming. So these are pretty old screenshots. So we call the existing agents the classic agents, and the new agent platform, we call them just the AppMon agents. Oh. But you're right, in this screenshot you still see the one agent.
Yeah, that's okay. I just wanted to clarify that people understand. The other question that just came in, if you're selecting the new agent platform, I assume you have to restart the agent, and upon restart, you get the new agent, right. Or will this happen implicitly?
Yeah, no, that's right. You need to restart the agent, so it's very similar to what you've done before when changing some agent configuration, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And last question, because it fits here, .NET Core support. So this means you said full support for the .NET Core runtime. That means also for Linux and also for the .NET Core 2.0, yes or no?
.NET Core 2.0, yes, but not for Linux. We will look into .NET Core Linux for AppMon in future, but right now it's just available for Windows. If you're targeting .NET Core for Linux, we have it supported within Dynatrace.
Okay, within the Dynatrace one agent and managed instance. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who is next?
I'm next. Peter. Peter is next.
All right, Peter, then I'll make you presenter again.
All right. So one more thing before we end this whole webinar today that is kind of definitely worth mentioning here, which is the AppMon Rich Client. So in the past releases, we focused on web UI, bringing the data of AppMon to the teams, make sharing easy, collaboration easy. But now we decided to really spend some more love to the AppMon Rich Client, which was definitely needed, and in conversations with a lot of customers at Perform, during some calls, it really or due to our experience with support as well, we learned that, okay, we really want to have to improve the performance of the rich client as well, especially if you're working permanently with a lot of servers connected. So this release is really purely focused on the power user use cases and also focused on rich client performance when connected to multiple servers. So when we think about our UI concepts that we established in the last few releases, and you've watched what has happened in the AppMon web UI, and maybe you've already had a chance to look at Dynatrace as well, we really try to establish the same UI concepts and the same concepts for you to have, let's say, not as steep of a learning curve that would have been needed if we would have kept the products the same and left them the same. So with this release, you will find two source pickers, as we call them. So one defines which server you are currently working on. The other one enables you to switch the system profiles. Kind of similar to what we have in the AppMon web UI, where you have the system profile switch and the server switch. Everything that has changed, so all of these pickers and the side panel is accessible via keyboard shortcuts as well. So this is very fast and very convenient for you to use. Keyboard navigation is supported, and there is already a documentation page up where you can already get a close glimpse on what has changed and some explanations to that. So one thing that I'm also kind of really proud to share is that finally, when we remember back in the days where we had the cockpit with a lot of dashlets, we now have put in what we call a management views. So with this, you can define which dashlets show up as default as your favorite dashlets in the new side panel, which makes it much easier to keep a good overview of what you need most. Same for dashboards as well. There is a management view for dashboards, similar in terms of concept what we have in the AppMon web UI, where you have this favoriting mechanism that now here puts it into the side panel as well for quick access. And also this side panel is easily able to be navigated with the keyboards. And when we, for example, now look at PurePath dashlet, then we also see this favoriting concept affects the whole UI, because when you drill down, you will also see the possible dashlets that are able to be used for drill downs on top of all of these drill down menus, which again should make it much faster to use, especially when you're working on multiple servers and switching servers and everything. So my suggestion would be really to try the EIP, to use it, get a look at the new client, and yeah, we hope that we really improved the performance and save you time when you're working with the rich client heavily every day. So pretty cool what has happened there as well. Also based on...
Sorry, it is pretty cool. Peter, I was just asked, the link you just had opened, the documentation link for the rich client, this is already public, you said, right?
That's already public. So if you go to also worth mentioning, I did my best to get the release notes out there to today's webinar. They still use a different month, but that shouldn't be the biggest issue here. So you already have the release highlights with screenshots and examples, bullet points, and also what Thorsten showed us before regarding AppMon Dynatrace integration, as well as cross-server PurePath. And in this case, there is this rich client section, which again links to the documentation, which show the changes So if you want to have a look at it and use the EAP, then feel free to do so. We tried our best to explain the changes and everything.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So please use the EAP. It definitely makes sense since we have a lot of features in the AppMon Web UI with this cross server pure path thing, and then again also spend some love for the rich client here. As you've already seen, the release notes are up there. They're not finally yet, but I think it's enough for you to get a glimpse of what is coming. Yeah, and Kurt, maybe you have a word regarding early access program and
yeah. Thanks, Peter. You perfectly promoted already the early access program. And yeah, it's rather simple to get there. Just go on www.dynatrace.com support. At the very end of this page, you get a list of all running early access programs currently within Dynatrace. And on the very right-hand side, you see then AppMon and UEM AAP. When you click on that, so Peter, could you please move on for one click, please? You will come to a sign-up page where you simply say sign up and see again the release highlights, which you already know because you followed along this fantastic webinar. Next click, please. And this will sign up you. You will need to confirm then within an email that you want to participate. And as soon as you do that, you will be forwarded to this early access program community page, which is restricted to all customers which signed up for the EAP, but everyone can sign up. And everything is explained there. We have our own ticket system up running for the EAP, which is actually maintained by this group here, by the product management themselves. So we are handling those tickets. We are forwarding them if there are any issues directly to R&D. So not only that you have the option here to get your hands first on this awesome release, you're also able to get direct contact to the lab, to product management, to R&D. Yeah, so please use that opportunity and sign up today if you haven't done already. Good. So I think we can click one more to come to our Q&A then.
Perfect. Hey, first of all, I want to congratulate you for another milestone. It's always a milestone. It's amazing what we're doing with AppMon, and I think it's a great way to show our customers that while if you go to Dynatrace.com, everything is targeted around the new Dynatrace platform, SaaS and managed. We are investing a lot in AppMon, and this is just great to know that all of the investments, you can stay with AppMon. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and also we know the way forward. So there's a couple of other questions that came up and scattered around different topics now. So hopefully it's not going to be too confusing, but going back to the dashboards in the rich client, is there a way to change the default of creating a new dashboard from 30 minutes to 5 minutes? So every time you create a new dashboard, can we change that default of creating a new dashboard?
No, I think default is always 30 minutes. But interesting would be the use case for that, because sounds like more of an, hey, I need to analyze the latest pure paths kind of thing. So would be interesting to get more feedback on that.
Yeah. The next question is about there's a lot of questions that are coming in. Let me just, thanks for that link to the cockpit documentation. Is there anything available, anything new on the REST API? Any updates that happened to the REST API in Dynatrace, in AppMon?
One update I can add here, it's now possible to do license assignment and license reservation, for example, through the REST API, which means you can fully automate also your license reservation assignment within your scripts and so on and so forth.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that means if you're automating your application rollout, then you can also kind of configure for which of these applications you actually want to have licenses and take it away from others. That's pretty cool. A couple of questions on organizing dashboards and business transactions in the rich client. So I know, Torsten, you have shown us, or Peter, you've shown us the tagging capabilities of web dashboards. But what about organizing dashboards in the rich client and also business transactions in the rich client?
Yeah, actually, that's one thing that we're already discussing on how to proceed, basically, which is this, as most of you know, this highly voted product that year, which is called folders for BTs, where we would actually use tags, but it's still open and in discussion on how to proceed here. If we would tackle that going forward, if it would be something that would come with 2018 fall, so not with 2018 March. But the first step was this web dashboard tagging that, of course, was one thing that we could already attack here.
Okay, so obviously the problem is we're aware of that request, and on the web dashboards we addressed it already through tagging, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's another question in 6.5. We had the capability of charts. When you look at the chart dashlet in the rich client, you can hover the mouse over, and then you could change through mouse over things like the type of the chart, the resolution. So I think, and then 7.0 we changed it. It's a little harder and not as convenient in 7.0 to change these settings. And the question was, can we bring back the hover over and change settings of a chart in the rich client?
Yeah, let me just see if I can.
Maybe this is something you have to follow up.
Yeah,
if you need
we need a follow up, but this whole type thing, and when we go to a chart dashlet here, so this should be the same. The only thing that went away is when you, for example, put a custom time frame on a chart and want to apply it to a dashboard, then this was hidden with 7.0. This will also return with 7.1, but it was using icons before, but at least as I'm aware, didn't hide it.
I think the only thing that is really missing is I think the time frame, because the rest is there. Because Joshua, he said, I should not need to right click and then to change these settings. It makes much more sense with hover over. And I also agree with you now. The only thing that is missing seems to be the time frame.
It should be the only thing that should be missing is the apply to dashboard link when you put a custom time frame on a dashlet level.
But due to the fact that web dashboards are now more powerful than in the rich client, you should not create any dashboards anymore in the rich client.
Convert everything over and then you're good.
Exactly. Cassandra SQL call aggregation, is there any support for that with 7.1?
Nothing that we are aware of.
No change there.
No change there. Then Srirag gave an update on why he wants the default of 5 minutes. He says he has 5,000 transactions per second, and he always wants to analyze the latest data, and therefore he wants, when he creates new dashboards and dashlets, that it is the last 5 minutes and not the last 30 minutes. So I think that's the use case.
Yeah.
Okay. Any improvements on high availability of the Dynatrace server?
Yeah, so I can take this one. Yes, we are currently still working on a best practice guide to improve what we already have in the community space, because we know it's a little bit outdated, and we also want to provide a more convenient and easier way to fulfill the requirements for high availability. And what you can assume to have with 7.1, when we release 7.1, that we also have the guide and all the scripts and whatever is required for that available also to fulfill the requirements, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I assume also it's a similar question, horizontal scaling of the front-end server. It's not high availability, but is there any talk on scale web component?
Regarding the server itself, there is no change. So there's one backend process, there's one front-end process, and we don't support multiple processes because, as I mentioned before, now we have also support for more memory, more heap, which means more heap for the backend and also for the front-end. And therefore, there is no requirement at all to have multiple front-end servers, because we can handle now the load much better, because most cases it was more or less a memory pressure. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I also believe, and this is, I know we are talking to an AppMon customer base right now, but the way forward, we believe that future applications that you are instrumenting is most likely going to be with our new Dynatrace platform using the one agent, and that's basically something where you have scalability automatically built into our architecture.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's see. I believe this was this. What about Node.js on serverless? Is there anything new there? Shall we use AppMon? Shall we use Dynatrace?
For serverless, especially when we talk about Lambda support, I highly recommend to switch to Dynatrace, especially those cloud-based technologies are better featured on Dynatrace. I don't know, Patrick, what's up with Azure Functions and .NET Core. Does this work with AppMon?
Yeah, so that works with AppMon. So it's a matter of configuration. We'll provide a guide for Azure Functions on compiled.NET functions. So Innovation Lab made a huge progress here, so we can come up with a blog post within the next days. So that's pretty awesome here.
Cool.
From there.
Okay. Perfect. And also, Daniel, I know you just posted last week a blog post on Lambda support.
Exactly, and that refers really to Dynatrace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Another question on reporting. Has there been any updates on generating reports, HTML reports or PDFs? Any way we can make things like charts, images larger, better quality, remove white spacing and stuff like that? Is there any work done there?
No, there's no nothing. So basically the same answer as for most cases, utilize the web dashboards for this, because most of the cases when I talk to customers, basically they want to have a more beautiful way to have reports there. And in most cases, it's more or less a simple export of our custom dashboards within the web UI, and therefore give the guys access to the web dashboards just to view it, because this is possible. And then you have everything there almost. So yeah.
One thing to add here is as well our permission concept for the web UI. So it is basically possible if you have a reporting use case to management, for example, it is basically possible to isolate the users only to view a web dashboard that you've shared with them and do nothing else. They will not be able to click on anything else than shared dashboards.
And cannot switch system profiles, for instance. So this is also available within the sharing capabilities we have there.
Cool. So it's like a read-only view of certain dashboards. Yeah, I also agree. And I know there's still companies out there that love reports. I have to say, if you send reports to somebody's inbox and nobody looks at them, I think it's better if you send them links and then they can interact with it. I think it's also much better. Yeah. You mentioned business transactions in some of your slides in the web UI business transaction view, but I'm not sure if we actually saw it. Can you briefly explain what that is?
Okay. You see it actually. Yeah. So what you see here is let's go to one that is kind of exemplary. So what you see here is basically the same that you would see when you're clicking on a BT hotspot dashlet in the rich client, which is the possibility to select a BT and the splitting and then analyze the data that comes in. With the possibility to change aggregation to some, for example, the analysis time frame, and then you could either pin this chart to a dashboard.
That's cool.
Let's create a new one in this case. So here I have this splitting, but I can also say, okay, for a report like bookings by location, I could just say pin this whole view to a dashboard and say, hopefully I'm getting the best one. See, and then I just linked or put this entire view on the wrong new dashboard.
But I guess more interesting is also the compare capabilities we have right now.
Exactly, yeah.
So maybe it's worth to show this as well.
Thanks, Thorsten. So this is also cool. Where this is configure aggregations and comparison just by activating this toggle here, automatically comparing data between now and the previous interval, which in this case is 6 hours.
Mm-hmm. And of course you can pin it again.
And again,
both
I can pin this one
illustrations
to the new dashboard and the 6 hours before one. So
yeah. A question in that regard, is there any filter capabilities for business transactions on a dashboard level?
No. So on dashboard, what we have is we have filters for system profile, application, time frame, agent, agent group, and host for now. Why? Because these are the most used filters globally, and we've seen that with internal use cases and custom use cases based on the dashboard converter. Because we get in support cases, we get the dashboards, then we analyze, okay, which filters are used mostly, and these are the first ones that we will add to the web dashboards.
Mm-hmm. Cool. No, that makes sense. Obviously, there are some people out there like Joshua. He's asking for more filters, like on business transactions, for instance. Then the last question, because I think we're running out of time. With the acquisition of Quamram, is there any technology from them that makes it into 7.1?
No.
Okay. I think there's
honest answer, right?
Yeah, that's an honest answer. I think we hear more though about that acquisition and how that influences our future products.
Perform.
Perform, yeah. Exactly. Go to Perform. Fly to Vegas. Perform.dynatrace.com. That's what I want to say. Please, in case you have not signed up yet, it's a great chance to meet all of you, I assume, right? You guys are all going to be there?
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. I would say thank you so much again for a great AppMon release that is coming out. Folks that want to get on the early access program, come on. EAP-appmon@dynatrace.com. Sign up for it or send questions. There's a lot of material already out on the community. The release notes are out there. This video will be out on the university and also on YouTube. And Thorsten and I will doing another session in 2 weeks where we talk about the integration of AppMon with Dynatrace. And yeah, with that, I say tschüss to my friends in Linz.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.